Hi guys, welcome to another one of our grammar videos. If you haven't seen any of them yet, my name is Zuzana, and today we are going to have a look together at conditionals, more specifically at the first and the second conditional. So let's get started. So let's have a look again at these sentences here, or rather this short conversation. So as you can see, A is asking, oh, so what is your plan for the weekend? And then B says, well, it depends on the weather. If it rains, I will stay at home. If it's sunny, I will go to the park. So this is the case of the first conditional, right? So if it rains, I will stay at home. If it's sunny, I will go to the park, right? So as you can see, this conditional is basically used when we talk about things that can really happen. So there is a real possibility, for example, in that case, that it will rain, or there is a real possibility that it will be sunny, right? So we always use this first conditional when we talk about things that can really happen, or in other words, there is a real possibility that certain thing will happen, right? So when it comes to the structure, we always have if. After if, we have a verb in the present simple, and then in the other part of the sentence, we have will, and again, a verb. So for instance, as you can see here, you can also say, so if you need help with your homework, I will help you. Yeah, if you need help with your homework, I will help you. Again, we can just use the short form of will, and that is I'll, or yeah, this double L. So I'll, you'll, he'll, and so on, right? So again, there is a real possibility, for example, if your child is doing his or her homework, that he or she might need help, right? So in that case, if you see him or her doing his or her homework, you can just say, well, if you need help with your homework later on, right, I will help you, right? So it's a real possibility that he or she will need my help. So in that case, we can use this first conditional. Cool, guys. I hope it is clear, so that now we can have a look basically at the second conditional. So let's again have a look at the conversation here. So A says, what would you do if I gave you $1 million? What would you do if I gave you $1 million? And B says, wow, that's really hard to imagine. If you gave me $1 million, I would buy a house by the beach, right? So can it really happen that A will give B $1 million? I don't think so, right? It's only something that they imagine, right? So basically we use this second conditional in situations when we talk about things that we only imagine, right? And we imagine things that happen, or that are happening now, or that will happen in the future, right? But in reality, there is like a really low or even a zero possibility that this thing might happen. All right. So in that case, when we only imagine things, we will use the second conditional. Right? And even though we use past simple in this second conditional, we don't use it to talk about things that happen in the past. Okay, so just remember that we use it when we talk about things that we imagine that might happen in the future or in the present. So when it comes to the form, again, we will use if. After if, we will always have past simple tense, or a verb in the past simple. And in the other part of the sentence, there is going to be would and a verb. All right? So for instance, you can say, if I was a president, I would help all the poor people. Right? So if I was, past simple, a president, I would, verb, help all the poor people. Again, you can just use the short form, and instead of would, you can just say I'd help, right? I'd help. again, this situation is something that we only imagine, right? So for instance, I can say, well, if I was a president, but like there is for me a zero possibility that it will happen. So in that case, I will say if I was in the second conditional, I would do that or that. Yeah. So just remember that we use it for imaginary situations. Let's have a look though at other example. And that is when we talk about things like, yeah, let's imagine that you have a friend, okay, and your friend is thinking of getting a job, and let's say that he's got an offer, but maybe it's not such a great offer, right? So maybe the salary is low, or there are some things that maybe you don't like about this job offer. So in that case, you can tell your friend, well, if I were you, I wouldn't take the job. If I were you, but I'm not you, but if I were you, if I was in your situation, I wouldn't take the job. So this is like an exception here, as you can see, and probably you know that with I, we normally use was. However, in this particular specific situation, when we just say that, when we imagine that, you know, that you were somebody else or in somebody else's shoes, in that case, we will always say if I were you. Yeah, so it's very, very common to use it here. And also what is good to remember is that instead of would, in the second conditional, we can also use might or could, all right? So for example, you can say, well, if I didn't visit her in the hospital, she might get angry, right? So there is a possibility that she would get angry, right? So instead of would, you can say might. Or again, you can say, if it was sunny, we could go to the park, right? So again, you can also say, if it was sunny, we would go to the park, right? So you can just basically change them. And maybe like another good thing to remember or to notice is that in the second conditional, in case that you are kind of like asking somebody to do something, but like in a very formal way, you can use would after if, all right? But only in situations when you ask somebody else to do something, right? So for example, if you are in the office and let's say you have a secretary, you can just tell her, well, or tell him, I would appreciate if you would call Mr. Smith today. So this is a very polite way and a very formal way of asking somebody to do something, all right? So in this only case, you can see would after if, but not in any other case. All right, perfect. So this would be all for today, even though we have 2 more conditionals in English, but we will not cover them today. We will definitely have a look at them though in the next video. And yeah, so just remember the basic distinction. So the first conditional, we use it for things that can really happen, right? Or with things where there is a real possibility that it will happen. Whereas in the second conditional, we only use it for things we imagine, right? So there is a really low, if not a zero possibility, right, of this thing happening. So just remember that, maybe rewatch the video again so that it really like sticks in your memory. And yeah, that would be all for today. So if you like this video, if you would like to see more of them in the future, again, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, so have a great day. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day or enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will see you next time. So bye.